What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today, I'm very excited checking out The Princess Bride, As You Wish from Game Salute. This is for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 plus. It'll take you about 30 minutes to play. And in The Princess Bride, As You Wish, you are going to be drafting cards to create a quest or a story in your tableau, all based on the Princess Bride movie/book. It is a light gateway-esque game, but does it work? We'll open it up and I'll tell you. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what you're getting inside The Princess Bride As You Wish from Game Salute. First and foremost, we have our handy dandy rule booklet. It's about 7-8 pages, double-sided, full color, full pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's a pretty well done rule booklet. There is one big issue I had with this rule booklet though, and that is the fact that it's not clear in the middle part of the rule booklet whether or not the dealer gets to look at the cards before they lay them down. However, that is clarified in the summary play at the end, but I wish it would have just been clarified a little bit more in the middle part of the rule booklet. Not a deal breaker, still a good rule booklet, but a little bit annoying. So in The Princess Bride As You Wish, you're going to be taking control of one of the characters from the show, and I believe there are 10 of them on here, and you're going to be trying to collect different, a symbol based on what you like. So for instance, this guy right here, if he has over 6 cards in his quest, aka your tableau, that is this symbol right here, he's going to score 2 points. This guy, if he has the same thing, he's going to score 2 points. 2 points. You're kind of getting the example here. All these cards are pretty much the same except the different symbols on them. So if you have over 6 cards in your tableau that are this, you're going to score 2 points per. And at the end, if you have 9 cards in your tableau, you're going to score 1 point per that. That is going to be difficult, though, to get 9 cards in your tableau. So as you can see, they're pretty much the same, but they do have slightly different win conditions. So each person is going to get assigned one of these cards, and then you're going to start drafting these cards right here. These cards are going to be the star of the show, so we'll go over what these cards are like. So each one's going to have a picture from the movie and a quote from the movie. There's going to be a number down here on the bottom right-hand corner, which will be very important because that will dictate who the dealer is on a given turn and also who's going to pick first. And then also in the upper right, the symbols that we mentioned, because those symbols are going to score you points, but at the same time, they can potentially score your opponent points. How would they score your opponent points? Well, because there's these black bordered cards right here. These black bordered cards are going to be very good cards to have because they're going to score you a good deal of points if you can keep them face up. But we'll get into how that works in a second. So for instance, this is a battle of wits. 3 points per your neighbor's wit. So you look to the person to your left and person on your right, and if they have one of these symbols showing up, or 2 of these symbols showing up, you are going to score 3 points per those symbols. So this is a great card. You're going to be able to score a good deal of points on this card potentially. However, you might notice that there's these 3 skulls in the upper left-hand corner. And you're going to see on various different cards, upper left-hand corners, either 1, 2, or 3 skulls. The key is when you're drafting your cards and making your quest, your tableau, you cannot have 4 skulls. If you ever get to 4 skulls, you're going to have to flip over a card that made you go over 4 skulls. So this one's going to be a very difficult card to keep up because you already have 3 of the 4 skulls. If that makes any sense. Now also, there are going to be white bordered cards that will look like, really should have one of these prepared for the example, right there. So this one, it's going to give you 2 skulls, which is, halfway there. Back to the beginning, 2 points per your love. So for each love icon you're going to have in your quest, you're going to gain 2 points. Now, if you could potentially stack that with, say, this guy right here who's already going to get 2 points per love in his quest, this would be a great strategy for him to get, which means someone else might want to take it as well, especially if they're going for hearts. But I'll show you how this works. Essentially what's going to happen is the dealer, whoever that is, and that's going to be the person with the highest number, so for instance 74 right there, is going to take, in this particular scenario, 5 cards, because you're going to take 1 card per player, and then 2 additional cards, and in a 5 and 6 player game, I believe it is, you'll take 3 cards instead of 2 additional cards, and you're going to look at what cards you have. And you're going to decide which cards you want to play face up and which cards you want to play face down. So for instance, this guy's the dealer right here. He probably really would like to get, oh wow, 2 points per your neighbor's wits. Yeah, I think he'd probably want to get that one. So he might decide, you know what, I'm going to play this one face down, and maybe I'll play this one face down. And he's going to play these three face up. We'll actually play him down here so maybe you can see him a little bit better. So right now, he's got 2 face down and 3 face up. And what's going to happen is you're then going to go in order based on who has the lowest number, and you're going to draft 1 card. So we'll take a look at this guy. Let's just pretend that he's got this. So that's what he's looking for. This is what he's looking for. And this is what he is looking for. So this guy might look around and say, you know, I really want to get the hand. I really want to get the skull. There's nothing really here that's, oh, that one right there. So the hand is a good one. So he would probably draft this card right here because that's going to help him complete the hand. And he would place it just like so. Next, we go from that number to 34. So we go from 19 to 34. Now this guy is going to draft one. He's looking for hearts. He's looking for coins. And wow, look at that. Back to the beginning, 2 points per your love, and he's probably going to be collecting love as it is, so that's a great one for him. So now we get back to our dealer. The dealer is in a unique situation because he's not only going to be drafting 1 card, but he's also going to be drafting 2 cards. So the dealer is always going to draft 2 cards. So as you can see, at the end of the game, not every player is going to have the same amount of cards in their tableau or quest. So he knows this is the card that he really wants. Oh, actually, he knows that's not the card he really wants because I mistakenly put it there. But that card doesn't hurt him. And in fact, if he can get to 9 cards, that's going to be worth 1 point at the end of the game. So that's actually not a bad one. But he knows this is the card he's really looking for. And boom. So now, if any of his opponents, which in a 3-player game would mean any of these people, play a wits, he's going to be gaining 5 points per wits. But right now he's walking the razor's edge because he already has 3 skulls. So that's going to be very, very difficult. So now you would look at the new cards that are out there, the 39, 61, and 66, and you would decide who the dealer is again. And this guy would actually be the dealer again, which in his particular situation is actually a good thing because he really does not want to get skulls. So he can, even though he is going to have to draft 2 cards, which will be difficult, he will know exactly what the face-down cards are, so potentially he might, try and bluff or trick people into thinking maybe they are or are not skulls. But anywho, you're going to continue to do this until someone has 9 cards, at which point you will add up your score, which will be based on whether or not you were able to reach these accomplishments here. You'll look at your white cards like this, and you'll look at your black cards like that, and you will tie up the score. Whoever the most points is going to be the winner of the game. But I did forget to mention one thing. So I think I actually did mention it. What happens when you reach 4 skulls? So let's say this happens. At this point, you're going to have to flip over one of your cards. It will go like this. So it fortunately will not give you any points at the end of the game. However, it does still count as a card for when you try to score at the end of the game. When it says if you have at least over 6 cards, that still does count as one of your cards for that particular scenario. But anywho, whoever's those points will be the winner of the game. And that, in a nutshell, is how The Princess Bride As You Wish is played. Ogre Dokery, The Princess Bride As You Wish from GameSalute. What are my final thoughts? Given the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game's not going to be for everybody. In fact, it wasn't, quite frankly, for me. There's a couple main reasons why. The first one is it is a very, very light game. There's not much meat on these bones. There's not too much strategy going on in this game. Also, there is a good deal of luck in this game, especially if you're not the dealer, because you're either going to take a card that's going to harm you, and that's all randomly assigned to the board, or you're going to randomly just draw a card that's face down, and you're not going to know what that is. Now, the dealer's going to know what that is, but for you personally, it's just blind luck, whether or not you get a card that is going to help you, or whether you get a card that's going to have a skull that is potentially going to hurt you. So some people are going to be turned off by that. Also, the game does play drastically different between 2 players and 6 players. 2 players, this game goes by lightning quick. Like, you can knock this game out in less than 15 minutes easily in a 2-player game, whereas a 6-player game, you are going to be reaching more towards that 30-minute time limit. Also, in a 6-player game, it is a little bit more of the Wild West, because you're going to be flipping cards over, and you got the 3 cards that are face down, and you're going to be like, none of this stuff helps me, so just randomly doing this, randomly doing that. Whereas I felt like the 2 and 3 player games are a lot more controlled, but that's not really a con, necessarily more as an observation that I wanted to point out. Rule booklet. The one issue that I did mention in the middle part of the rule booklet was annoying. That when you're the dealer, you get to look at the two cards, but the rule booklet doesn't quite clarify that. It's like missing 2 words, 2 or 3 words that they need to add in the middle part. Luckily, the summary play at the end does clarify that somewhat. So for me personally, this game is not for me. It's just too light. And, I'm not a big fan of the theme. If I were a big fan of the theme, I think that would change. But moving on to the pros, I do not think this is a bad game. And I do think that some people are going to enjoy this game. Me personally, I would not run to play this game, but I'm not going to be like, no, vetoing this game. Because it is a light, quick, enjoyable game. What do I like about the game? First and foremost, it is extremely simple to learn and extremely simple to teach. It's very, very simple. It's just you set out the cards and you say, all right, here's your objective. You're trying to do this. Oh, and if this black bordered card or this white bordered card comes out, then you're going to have extra objectives. And with the black bordered cards, you really don't even have to pay attention. It actually just kind of creates more of a hindrance for the people to the left and the right of you. But the white bordered cards will make it so you have an additional objective, or potentially, beef up your objective. And that is one of the things that I did enjoy about this game, is when you have the opportunity to get those cards. And I did like when you were the dealer. I really kind of like that little cat and mouse where it's like, all right, which cards do I put face down? Which cards do I put face up? Because I know he really wants this card, and I know he might want this card, and I don't want anybody to take this card, so do I put it face up or face down? Because nobody's really going to need it, but they might take it if they want to block me. There was a little bit of cat and mouse there, a little bit of strategy to when you're the dealer, and my favorite points in this game was when I was the dealer and I was deciding which cards I was going to lay out. I also like the fact that it does have the Princess Bride on there, because that's good for gateway gaming. And I feel like that is really where this game is going to hit its stride. If it does hit its stride, is as a gateway game. I feel like this is just too light for most game nights. However, with the IP of the Princess Bride, and it's got all the characters, and it's got some quotes from the movie, I feel like this is a game that could draw more people into the hobby, which is always a good thing. So overall, the Princess Bride, As You Wish, is a game that is not for me, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad game. Just not my personal cup of tea. So that's the Princess Bride As You Wish from GameSalute. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below, and in the comments below, let me know if you could have one superpower. What would it be? I actually asked the kids in my preschool classroom this last week, and I got a really good answer that I'm just going to give to you, and that's the main reason why I pointed this out. And that was, one kid said they'd like to shoot dolphins out of their fingers. And I was like, why would you like to shoot dolphins out of your fingers? And he said because he wanted to take care of bad guys. But me personally, I just think it would be hilarious if you could do it. Could you imagine it like as an elevator was about to shut, if you just like, dolphin, just put 2 dolphins in an elevator full of people? Hilarity's just going to ensue. If you just had dolphins all around Walmart or something like that. I don't know. What am I rambling on about? If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on the subscribe button below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.